So I haven't done a show since. It just made me really think, like, what are you doing?
First pro show, you placed fourth, but the three guys that beat you are Olympia competitors. Then you're top 3 at the Arnold. You're top 6 at the Olympia. I know you were fighting your demons. How old are you? Yeah.
35. I train now like I was competing. Nothing's changed. It's
just you're not competing. That's it. You don't have that urge to step back on stage?
I think there's a part of me that does. Do you really want to push it like you did when you were 23? I never made any money from competing.
From a physical aspect, and I'm telling you because I'm 60, 28, 32, 36, 38, that's the prime time.
Putting all your eggs in one basket in 35, you know, where do you find that balance where the ground underneath you is concrete?
Why did you stop competing?
Why did I stop? 2014 was my best year. I got third at the Arnold behind Flex Lewis and David Henry. I won New York Pro. I did the Olympia and I got sixth. And then my whole life fell apart. I don't know if you remember Gear Nutra, the company.
I don't.
So
was Compton sponsored by them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So they came on the scene, I guess it was the end of 2013. Big, affiliated with Muscular Development. They were like, we're going to be the next big thing, right? So they hired all of these top guys. Jason Poston, Juan Morel, myself.
I do remember that.
So it was huge. And they balled out. I mean, at the Arnold and everything, they had these big booths, right? So that was going into 2014, and I had a contract with them. It was going good, and then after New York, as we were nearing the Olympia, I had started to have checks bounce because there were no products. He was just like marketing, just like, you know, we would go out, he would take us to the club. Like it was the, you know, Fugazi, like there was nothing there really. So by the time I got to the Olympia, I wasn't getting paid. They didn't help me get there or anything. Fakri ended up helping me get to the show. I'll always wonder this, and I don't know if it's true, obviously. After prejudging at the 2014 Olympia at the 212, I was like in the first call out, hoping for third. I was like in fourth, is, you know, based on like where everyone was. At the finals, I was announced in sixth. And, you know, I was distraught at the time. There were a lot of great guys in front of me, like whatever. But Gear Nutra, they were a sponsor of the show, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they never paid it. And I'll always wonder, you know, I wonder if that had anything to do with that, you know, that these other guys who have paying sponsors, I don't know, you know, and that's bodybuilding. I got dropped from them. MD dropped me. My girl who I had a ring for, I was going to get engaged to, she left. I got kicked out of where I was living. And after this great year, I moved in my parents' basement, broke, and I was like, what happened? You know, it was super depressing because I had like done all these accolades that I was like, you know, never imagined I could do. And then here I am at the bottom. Blackstone Labs reached out to me because I was trying to get a contract and no one was really, and I moved to South Florida because they offered me a contract and a job. And that was at the end of 2014. So 2015, I moved to Boca. I had some other stuff in my, you know, my personal life, and things were getting rough. There were all these research chemicals coming through, and basically, like, we didn't know what they were, but some of them ended up being opioids, and I didn't know that they were, and I was depressed, and I was taking them, and then a few months in, I realized I'm like super addicted to these chemicals that I've been taking at this office, right? I did San Antonio Pro that year, and I was a wreck. I prepped for like 2 weeks, was 221 the night before. I pulled 11 pounds of water, and I got second. I should have just left it at that, but I did the Olympia, and that's where I really shit the bed at the Olympia. And I went home, and I checked into an outpatient facility, and then I was like, well, I'm going to grow into the open class. And during that whole time, I had a contract from Blackstone, and it was really unhealthy for me because I was struggling, and I had struggled there. And it just allowed me to really be a degenerate because I was just kind of like at home training and getting a check. That was 2015, and I competed in 2018 and made an absolute fool of myself. After that, I was like, I didn't know what to do, but it took me a while. But after I really kind of pulled it together, I was like, I need to come back and at least, I don't know what I want to do, but I at least need to do a show just to prove to myself that that's not me, right? That we showed last time. And so in 2020, I did the Tampa Pro. That's when George Peterson won, and I got fourth. But I looked good, and I did what I set out to do with that. I competed in the Tampa Pro the next year, but that was like in the middle of a divorce, and I didn't do as good. My legs were holding water that I couldn't get rid of. I wasn't sleeping, and after that, I was just kind of like, I'm not really sure, like, what am I chasing? Can I beat what I did already? The answer is probably no. When I competed in 2021, I had this just called edema in my legs. Like they blew up when I was really peeled, and it scared me, like for sure. And I'm fine now, but it just made me really think, like, what are you doing? Like what are you trying to do here? And I think I couldn't really answer that question, and so I haven't done a show since. I'm not really sure if I'm like done, but that's where I am now. Yeah.
Now, what was the cause of the edema? You just you didn't check it out. You're just like, all right, got to change directions, bring things down a little bit, and go from there.
I don't know. I was working with Johnny from Johnny Castellana. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not.
Yep.
And he had a lot of theories, but it's not a good sign. I didn't know what it was, and it went away, but it just scared me, like, because I placed top 10, but who gives a shit, like, do you really want to push it like you did when you were 23? Those are hard questions to answer. I guess that's where I am now.
Obviously, and there's many bodybuilders that have taken the wrong direction when things don't go their way, and they continue to spiral out of control, right?
Yeah.
And in your situation, you're still able to kind of keep pushing forward, but most importantly, get help when you need to get help, kind of like to break that balance. As Antoine went through something very similar.
Yeah.
And Antoine is very open about it and talks about it. And, it took him quite a few times to go through rehab to finally break it, but he did. And then now look where he is. But I applaud you for that. I do want to also point out some positives, man. I mean, like, considering, you prepping yourself for all that time, what you've learned, the highest placings you achieved in a relatively short period of time. I mean, if you think about in regards to when you turned pro to you're placing top 3 at Arnold, that's pretty quick, right?
Yeah. No, it happened very quick.
Yeah.
So, okay, I don't want to be philosophical and but who you were and who are you now? And who are you now and what do you want to do? I mean, now you're 35. You're no longer a teenager. So you have a passion for a couple of things, right? And you're good at it. It's just, are you going to focus on it and get it to the next level? I mean, you capture attention 100% for sure. And then from a physical aspect, and I'm telling you because I'm 60, right? And I've been going through this. I think and many people are going to tell you 28, 32, 36, 38, that's the prime time. And now, especially if you save yourself and don't do crazy shit, like we just see the video and then you get a bunch of injuries, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can last like Vince Taylor, Francis Benfado, Dexter Jackson, Albert Backus.
Yeah, they last a long time.
It's a long time. You have a combination of aesthetics and powerful freaky mass. I mean, you kind of look like a bulldog, like with the round muscle bellies, but then all tapered on very, very nicely. All right. So
thank you.
I can imagine being top 3 and top 6, and pretty much in your first tryout at Arnold, first tryout at Olympia. I mean, if you make the top 6 at Olympia on the first tryout, you're something. I mean, something way above the average.